So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
I'm on with the force is with me.
I've seen your daily routine, you're not busy.
This is where the fun begins.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
We're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Hive of Scum and Villainy. That's right, it is Star Wars Celebration, and you clicked onto this video for our review of Star Wars Episode 9. I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. You like that? Out of the way. The Rise of Skywalker. We now know the title name of Episode 9. I'm so sick of saying Episode 9. I'm joined, of course, my name's Thomas. What's up? I'm joined by my good friend and brother-in-law, James Fuller. James, it's here. What's up? How'd you like it?
I liked it. For those of you who saw the reaction video from earlier, I said at the beginning of the video I was nervous. I'm skeptical about 9. Still am. I believe that JJ can pull it off, but I'm still nervous. But the trailer itself was pretty cool. Had some cool images. I like that it kept things pretty close to the chest, and I like the title. I know that that's something people are kind of debating about right now, but I like the title.
Yeah, with the title itself, I like it more right now than it took me to like the title for The Force Awakens. Like that title, The Force Awakens, didn't sit with me well. This one's already kind of marinating with me a little bit, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I'm just going to do a quick drive-by of the panel. I thought the panel started off well. I was really surprised to see Steve Colbert to host the panel. I know he's a huge Star Wars fan. I'm not a huge fan of Stephen Colbert just because of other reasons, but I thought that he brought his energy and enthusiasm and his childlike personality to hosting a Star Wars panel, because I can imagine it could be very daunting. So I thought he did a really great job. He brought out Kathleen Kennedy, of course, and JJ, and I was kind of keeping my eyes on Kathleen to see how she, would act and interact and respond, because she's kind of been in the shadows here in the past year and a half, and she did fine. She said what she needed to say. You know how you can talk to somebody and you know that they're saying the right things on purpose?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like, I kind of got that vibe from her. And again, I'm not trying to like call her out or anything like that. It's just, she's just not as thrilling to listen to talk about Star Wars versus, J.J. Abrams or even George Lucas, which George Lucas, he's as cool and awesome as he is. Sometimes he's a bit of a snooze fest whenever he talks about Star Wars. But and it wasn't even her. Like the whole panel kind of had like this awkwardy, robotic kind of feel to it, and it's not their fault because they're asked to come on the stage and talk about stuff they can't talk about. So it kind of already makes for an awkward setting, and then he times that by 45 minutes. The highlights of the panel, just to be brief and quick, I really love, I always get his name wrong, Jonas, who plays the new guy that plays Chewie, that took over for Peter Mayhew. He did an incredible job of kind of interacting with the crowd. I remember watching him in the Force Awakens panel, and he was kind of shy. He's doesn't speak English that great. That's not his first language. In the Force Awakens panel, he's kind of shy and timid and trepidatious about it. But with this panel, he was knocking it out of the park. He might as well have been hosting it. They showed a lot of pictures, a lot of still frame pictures of the movie and on and off the set, behind the scenes. They had a great picture of him, Chewie, in costume, holding his brand new newborn baby.
Oh, wow.
It was a perfect picture. It really made my day. That was my highlight of the panel itself, other than Lando Calrissian himself, Billy D. Williams coming out with a pimp cane. He had a line. Stephen Colbert asked him, he's like, how hard was it to shake off the rust of putting back on the cape and stuff? And Billy, he's like, he's Lando. He never left, man. I'm right here, So Lando was being Lando, so it was great. They even rolled out BB-8, of course, R2D2, of course, and then that new droid that we saw in the trailer. His name was Dio.
Dio.
Dio. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, basically looks like the Pixar lamp. To me,
yeah,
it.
yeah,
What do you think about that?
yeah.
The robot.
I didn't catch the panel. I heard a lot of different things about it. But in the trailer, there's a shot where it's BB-8 and Dio or Dito, whichever one. He's like right
Dio,
next.
Dio.
Yeah, the little robot is right next to BB-8, and my first thought was that kind of does look like the Pixar lamp.
Yeah, yeah, it's well made. It looks awesome, obviously, practical
Mhm.
effects. It's one of those things, where it's like, that's for toys. I know what you are.
Yeah, yeah,
Compared to K2SO, like I look at K2SO and I'm like, that's a new droid right there, and he is cool.
yeah,
It looks cool, it just looks like the little Pixar lamp rolling around, little one wheelie, but it's cool.
yeah.
So yeah, so that was my kind of, I watched the panel. James didn't. He was slacking off doing whatever. I guess he was preparing for his review.
Yeah, I
By
had
the
to
way,
had to get into character, and then I had to like fiddle around with technology because technology sucks. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, speaking of that review, if y'all haven't already, check out the James's live action review um, of the Rise of the Skywalker. I know I jumbled that all up. The Rise of Skywalker. It's kind of interesting because they don't say the Skywalkers. It's the Rise of Skywalker. So
yeah,
right off the bat, we're just going to jump right to the end of the trailer to the title. James,
yeah.
the title, The Rise of Skywalker. What do you think about it overall, the title?
I really like it. I know that that's something that a lot of people are kind of going back and forth over, of course, because it's Star Wars. So everybody's got something to say about modern Star Wars, even us. That's why we're sitting here talking right now. I like the title. I think a lot of hints, specifically one that I mentioned in the video, the reaction video, was that it kind of hints at Ray, possibly, maybe. We're gonna get that, the old theory back from Seven that she could be related to the Skywalker somehow. I said in that video, I hope that that doesn't happen because that's one of the things I liked about the Last Jedi was that she was a nobody. Um, so I like the title. Um, Not much else to it. We don't have a whole lot of information about the movie, so we'll see.
Yeah, I have already about 3 or 4 theories just on the title alone, and that's going to expand, exponentially moving forward. Obviously, with what you said, everyone's finger is going to point right to Ray and be like, "You see, it's Luke's daughter. They tried to
Yeah,
subvert our expectations, this and that." And me personally, I don't. I think it's too obvious for them to do that. So that's not my number one option. There's other theories that I've already heard today where the word Skywalker is going to be a title moving forward, like it's like you get knighted a Skywalker, kind of like a Jedi Sith.
mm,
We have Skywalkers, and I don't want to dive too much into that because it's only day one, and
yeah,
that might be a thing for later. Obviously, this hints again at the Kylo redemption angle, since as
yeah.
far as we know, he's the only Skywalker. Um, I know how we feel about that. If y'all want to go and look at our last video that we did, or 2 videos ago, the top 5 things we don't want about Star Wars, which I'm sure 85% of y'all out there agree about the Kylo redemption story. But
Mhm.
hey, especially with the shocking reveal that we have at the end of this trailer, it kind of looks like we're getting a Kylo redemption
More
story.
than likely. I
More
wish we
than
weren't,
likely.
but it's probably going to happen. Especially if what happened at the end of this trailer was not just manipulation. If it actually reflects something that is going to happen in that movie, yeah, we're probably getting a Kylo redemption arc. I hate it, and I wish JJ wouldn't do it, but it's probably going to happen. So
Probably gonna happen. It's Star Wars. It's for the kids. It's got to end, all thumbs uppy. And then
yeah,
another one which has almost no shot, but because of reasons, it could mean that Luke returns, like literally gets resurrected. And which, I mean,
good.
hell, again, it's possible because look at the end of this trailer, which we'll get to in a little bit. It's not impossible, but I'd give it like a 0.5% chance of happening.
Yeah.
But throwing it out there for now. So that's our thoughts on the title itself alone. Again, we'll get more into that because everyone's going to be dissecting just the title alone. So moving on, we're just going to kind of do a quick shot-by-shot look at the trailer. The only thing that I did not like about this trailer was how long the opening intro took.
You mean the whole thing with Ray being in the desert? How long it took for that ship to come after her? Is that what you mean?
Was it? Yeah. Like it started off with her breathing for a good solid 5 seconds on a black screen. Her just standing there, more standing there. Then it slow zoomed down. We see the broken lightsaber. It's got like a band-aid on it, which is great. I like that that's coming back into the mix, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, so that whole shot of and then intermixing with that low swooping camera angle before the ship even gets there, it was like 3 seconds too long, in my opinion. That's the only thing about this trailer that I did not like at all.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked the whole intro, simply because honestly, the thing is that when I was watching the trailer, I thought for a second that was going to be the entire thing because it did go on long enough for it to be like, this could be the whole thing. Like the whole 2 minutes could just be building up to whatever this is. I still liked it. I think that the only time where, and I mean, in the video, whenever you can see the reaction when it hits, but I was a little taken aback when she did the whole flip over the TIE fighter.
That part was awesome.
Because, yeah, no, it was cool. But it was one of those things that was like, oh, wow, I forgot that they do that in these movies because we haven't seen it since the prequels. So it was kind of like, okay, so maybe, episode 7, they made it very clear that we're not referencing anything from the prequels. Those movies don't exist. But now, because they're having to kind of backtrack a little bit.
Backtrack and tippy toe and kind of
backtrack.
We're kumbaya on everybody. But yeah, that shot was really awesome. Just the one right before it where she like turns and she just waits. So
that
like
was a bit weird though.
Yeah, that to me just kind of insinuates that that's not Kylo in the ship. She's not being threatened. It's some kind of training thing. Because they do a quick shot of in the cockpit and you assume it's Kylo, but I think that that's taken out of context.
Yeah.
But anyways, just moving along. I believe one of the next shots you see quickly Kylo taking some dude out, like just straight up. Rambo tackles him, and it looks like the hilt of his lightsaber just kind of like pokes right into his chest. Was that one of the Knights of Ren? Do you think at all?
No, it looked like a rebel soldier. Probably in like rags, not necessarily in full military gear. It looked like a character that would be on Endor, in my opinion. It looked like a rebel soldier that would be on Endor. I don't think that was Endor. I can't remember if it was like a snowy landscape or if it looked more forest like.
Well, shit was on fire because it was all red.
I know stuff was on
in
fire.
The background. Yeah.
So who knows what it could be? I've heard rumors that there's going to be a lot of stuff happening on that planet. That's kind of the central point of the Disney World place, the Galaxy's Edge. Supposedly that planet's going to be introduced in 9. I've heard that rumor a lot, and I mentioned that in the reaction video. That I've heard it a lot. So that could be it. I don't know. I liked that shot though. I liked seeing Kylo take a motherfucker down. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to see Kylo in action. You can't, and without the helmet. So with speaking of the helmet, one of the next shots is it's not Kylo wielding the helmet because if you zoom in closely, it's some kind of furry hand that's doing the welding or the fusion, whatever.
Yeah.
So we get to see that, and I think I've seen some leaked images of Kylo's cracked red liney helmet. So I didn't really care one way or the other. I'm glad it's coming back, I guess. Do you have thoughts about the helmet, no helmet?
Personally, I want it to come back, and I want to be there for the majority of the movie, because that's one of those things that I really wish had been a bigger part of the sequel trilogy, simply because Kylo, when he was before Episode 7 came out, and I'm going to talk more about this later, but even in the concept art book for Force Awakens, which contains numerous different drawings and artworks of things that were ideas for what episode 7 was going to be about. Most of them are unused because they were changed. But one of the ideas of Kylo Ren is that he was supposed to be obsessed with Darth Vader and wanted to be just like Darth Vader. And I
that's
think
like
that's
his crux to Vader.
yeah,
is
I
one
think that the
connection.
mask, yeah, I think that the mask represents a lot. And I think that that's one of those things that had it been explored properly in these movies, it could have been one of those really deep themes that so many people like to praise The Last Jedi for. It could have been one of those really awesome running themes throughout the sequel trilogy, but it wasn't. It was kind of dropped off really quickly.
Yeah, because Snoke says something like, "You're just a child in a mask," and that's where he
Yeah,
cracks
yeah.
it. Which, I mean, you can extrapolate that that plays into it, and then at the same time, you can say, "Well, yeah, that's just Ryan, just once again throwing something out the window."
Yeah.
Regardless, next shot, we see Finn, surprisingly enough, with Rey's staff. Very
I didn't catch
interesting.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
had a
I didn't
staff.
catch that.
Yep,
Hmm.
yeah. And are we? You said in the review Tatooine. Are you still sticking to that, or did you really mean to
I
say
think
Jakku?
so. No, I think Tatooine's gonna be. I it's I don't know. I think Tatooine just because they're if J.J. Abrams is gonna do one thing the same as he did in Force Awakens, it's gonna be the heavy doses of nostalgia. And I think Tatooine.
I think Endor would be pushing it. I think it's Jakku. I'd be willing to make a bet with you right now. I think it's Jakku because
Let's get a little
because
closer. Let's
well,
get a
no,
little
I can
closer
already.
release.
I will go ahead and put 95% on it because spoiler alert, Palpatine's going to be in the film. In the book Aftermath, he has some kind of observatory on Jakku, and who else is in Jakku? The only freaking person we know is Rey.
Uh,
It's connecting. So you stick to Tatooine. I'll stick with the winning pony with Jakku. So
I'm gonna say Tatooine. Yeah, I think Tatooine.
all right. You already mentioned we got a shot of the new droid Dio. I wonder if it's spelled just D-TAC-O or is it D-I-O D-D-O? I don't know. Him and BB-8, they're hanging out. They do the little head roll to the side, which BB-8 does a lot of in all these trailers. He just sits there
Yes.
and he just tilts his head.
Fills the head.
Yep. So we got to see them briefly, which is cool, and got to see them on the panel. The new Dio droid rolling around. Um, on the desert planet of Jakku, we got to see speeder bikes and explosions and C-3PO on some kind of, I guess, a speeder bike skiff-looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I caught jetpack stormtroopers. Did just out of those quick little shots, did you like all that?
So I was meaning to bring this up. Yeah, I think they're on jetpacks. But when I was watching the trailer for the reaction, I wanted to say this on the video, but I was like, I need to pay attention to the rest of this.
You don't
For
want to sound
a
stupid
half
either by
second.
saying stormtrooper.
No. For a half second, I looked at it and I was like, "Is this Harry Potter?" Because it kind of
It
looks for a
looks like they
split
were on
second.
broomsticks.
It looked like they were on broomsticks, and I
thought
was
the
like,
same
"What?
thing.
Does Finn and Poe, are they carrying the Seeker now? Is that what's going on? Are we going after the Seeker? Is that what it's called? The golden ball, the golden snitch. That's what it is. The
The
snitch.
seeker goes after the snitch, so you're like almost there. Just like
Okay.
you're
Well,
almost there with Tatooine. But yeah, you got it, man. I thought the exact same thing because just how fast it went to the camera and there's dust and it looked like they're on a broomstick just for a
yeah.
split second. And
And
yeah, I'm,
the way that they were flying forward, it looked like their arms were forward, holding a broomstick.
but they were holding a gun, so yeah. So hey, so Boba Fett really had, well, I guess Jango Fett really had it in mind with jetpacks, and it's carried all the way 40 some odd years later. So yeah, I'm all
Yeah.
about it. Jetpack stormtroopers. Looks exciting. 3PO is actually involved in something other than saying, "Oh, hello, I guess
Yeah.
red arm." Yeah.
Other than talking about
Okay.
his red arm,
So,
yeah. Did he have the
do that.
red arm in the trailer?
No.
I don't.
No.
Okay, yeah, I think they got rid of it at some point. I think the Last Jedi, he didn't have it in that.
I think our podcasting is getting really fire-rific right now because
Yeah. There's cops flying around. I can hear them.
is it
I
getting
don't know what's
lit
going
back
on.
there?
I
This
think
is
so.
awesome.
It's
All
probably
right.
a wreck. Honestly, we have a
Let's
lot of
go.
those out here.
That's awesome. We'll just go with it. Well, we're going to give those guys a medal because we actually saw a medal in this trailer. is this Chewie's missing Yavin 4 medal that was never given to him? Is Leia finally going to give him the medal?
Oh my, oh, God. I hope so. And she needs to give him a damn hug.
Yeah. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Internet, but I think that they had already covered that basis in a comic book of Chewie receiving the medal. I didn't read it, but I did know I have heard about it, so it's just a little funny. I'm assuming it's Han's medal, maybe that Leia has in her hand,
It's
and she's just
probably some extra secret thing that was always in the background of the other movies that we never saw, just like the freaking dice. It's
yeah,
probably that. Like,
yeah. That's
it's
what I
just gonna
got.
be
It's like,
something. Yeah, it's gonna be something that JJ or Chris Terrio saw in one of the older movies and was like, "Hey,
can we make
nobody's
toys
ever
out of
pointed that
metals?
out. Yeah,
Make
let's make
toys
that
out of
important.
metals.
Let's make that important to the plot 40 years later."
Yeah, still pretty cool to see. And like I said, it kind of gives us, like I said, I think it's Leia holding the medal, giving a chance to reminisce about Han, because in one of the next shots we see is Rey and Leia embracing. And I gotta admit, when I saw Leia's face, I didn't like it. I think they got me, dude, because all that fear, all that worry that we talked about in that one video, I'm pretty confident now. Just seeing that, I was speechless, and when Ray, had the little tear going down her cheek, I felt that, and just I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to work out with Carrie Fisher no longer being with us.
So what you're saying is they got you.
I got
Got. Yep.
got.
Yep.
At least
Hey,
I know that they're on
at least you're
Jakku.
honest. Yeah, at least you know they're on
Jakku.
Jakku. Yeah,
Yep.
at least you know they're on Jakku.
Yeah. Like I said, changing next shot, I believe, is them on the cliff. Um, it's got to be indoor, right? It's got to be.
Which is that like where they found? Is this at the end of the trailer now?
Yeah, we're pretty much at the end. I know we've
Okay.
missed there's an A-wing flying in somewhere, but
Yeah,
that's
that's all just kind of extra stuff. That's just like
Yeah, this is fluff.
that's like powdered sugar on the funnel cake. It's like
Yeah.
it's there. There's a lot of it. It's there.
To be hugely critical, and I just wanted to get to this cliff thing. Which first of all, bravo, because this was one of your wants. You wanted the gang all together, and
Yes.
lo and behold, you got Chewie, you got BB-8, you got new D2D2 droid,
Mhm.
you got Poe, Rey, and Finn with blue
Everybody.
pants,
Yeah.
all together in one shot. So hopefully that's not one of those in-game Infinity War trailer
Manipulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
they listen to you, James. They listen to our podcast and film
Man,
that.
that's enough. That's enough. It's great to know that J.J. Abrams or Chris Terrio was one of the 7 viewers that we had on that.
Yeah,
That's great,
yeah.
man. That's all I wanted.
So yeah,
So
obviously they're You go ahead. You go ahead. I feel like I've talked enough.
that whole I liked the trailer. I've said that before, but it was at that moment where I saw all of them on that cliff, and we kind of the next thing we see is the piece of the Death Star lying out in the distance. That was where I said, okay,
Now we're getting somewhere.
I like this. Now we're getting somewhere. And
Yeah.
the reason why, and I'm bringing back what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if you've ever read it, but the concept art book for episode 7, there are a lot of things in that book that
This news started dropping out of nowhere today, obviously, especially, but I've never heard of this concept art until.
it's phenomenal. I have it. You need to borrow it.
Yeah.
That book, there are so many concepts in there, so many images and ideas that were not used.
The only
And-
one I've ever seen or heard of was the half Darth Vader, half Anakin picture. That's the only thing
Yeah.
I've ever heard come out of this book. Sorry,
Yeah.
Internet. I don't own this book.
But there is a certain sequence that they had kind of some of the storyboards were written out for it. Characters goes underwater and they find like pieces. They're like in the Death Star, like remnants of it, and they're searching for something. I can't remember what it was.
I'm about to say,
But-
it doesn't say maybe what they're searching for or why or.
It kind of talks. It's like every picture will have a little caption with it that kind of tells you what was the point of that picture. It doesn't go super detailed, but I really do think that they went back to the old drawing board and they were like, okay, let's look at some
Literally.
of the things. Yeah, they looked at some of the things that they didn't introduce in 7, and they said, okay, let's go all out, man. It's the last one. We got to do it. And that
Gotta wrap it
makes
up somehow. Yeah.
yes, that makes me so happy because I may have said it on the show before, but I think that if some of those concepts had been further explored from that book, we would be sitting here talking about the sequel trilogy so much differently.
Uh-huh.
Because episode 7 was almost, and I know people say this all the time, it is in a way almost a shot for shot remake of A New Hope. Like,
That's what I call it a homage. That's what I call
yeah,
it.
you can call it a homage, but I think that if
Soft
you were to
reboot, hard
just,
reboot. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's more of a reboot than it is a sequel. Maybe I was too far saying shot for shot, but it is more of a reboot than a sequel. But there are ideas and story concepts brought up in that book that would have completely changed the Star Wars universe. And I'm not saying it would have made it super dark and grim, but it would have just made it so much bigger. Like it would have made the universe feel so much larger, which is something I think Star Wars desperately needs.
It would have been a little bit more impactful versus how you put it in the one video about a turning chair or swivel chair, just left and right.
Yes.
We're gonna go. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely feel you on that. And just sticking with this scene specifically, it's obviously it's either Yavin or it's Endor. I'm led to believe that Death Star 2 is obviously more impactful considering we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So people are crazy on the internet right now saying, well, that doesn't look like like that doesn't look like Endor, doesn't look like Endor. Forest moon of Endor. So this is, moons, and then you got planets. So
Yeah.
this is Endor, y'all. That's where I'm hedging on my bets. Would you
Not to
agree?
mention, it's
Endor?
also 40 years after Return of the Jedi. Shit changes over the course of 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it
And this
does.
and this oh God, this means that we could potentially get an Ewok, dude.
Yeah, we could. We
And
could.
we talked about it in our 5 things we don't want, like how much we don't want to go to Endor or Ewoks, and holy shit, we might actually be doing it. And now seeing the trailer and like call it fan service. There's a fine line. I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of on board with it, where it's going, how you're saying with the whole um, what's in the Death Star, what is going on with Palpatine? How the hell is he even back? Because guys, we got Palpatine. Sorry for the
Yeah.
knocking. We got Palpatine back. The trailer ends. It fades to black, and then I can't do his
You hear
cackle.
the you hear the you
Yeah,
hear the classic Emperor. And I mean, it's a little different. It's not the exact same laugh, but it is very distinctly Emperor Palpatine. Now,
yeah.
some people have said that, oh, it's Luke because it sounds more like Mark Hamill's Joker. And okay,
Exactly.
that's
My
cool and
buddy
all.
texted me that. Yeah.
That's cool and all, but at the panel, Ian McDermott walked out on the freaking stage after the trailer was over. So either they are just getting in some world-class tomfoolery, or that's pretty much telling us like, hey, I'm back, bitches.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's Mark Hamill's Joker because what in the previous 2 movies has hinted that Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, would go evil as a Force ghost? Like what is hinted at that? What is hinted at that? So
Yeah, it's definitely the Emperor. I mean, without question.
yeah,
They're believe me, they've heard the words subverted expectations, and I don't think that they're going to dabble in that fire too
yeah,
much. Yeah, Ian McDermott rolled out almost immediately after the trailer was done. He's like, "Wrote it again," and it just does a mic drop, and everyone gets to watch it again. They all lose their mind. Yeah, it was a overall very solid trailer. It's certainly gotten me on board. I've been, on the fence, kind of leaning in the meh with Last Jedi since it's been out, but I'm with this trailer. It did exactly, in my opinion, what it needed to do. It's gotten me on board, and I'm sure a lot of fans that feel the same way about The Last Jedi and the sequel trilogy. It's gotten me to kind of wipe the slate clean, and I'm giving JJ. I'm not going. I don't like the NJJ we trust mantra, but I'm on board, and I'm just ready to let go and be a fan of Star Wars again. So that's kind of my 2 cents after watching this trailer.
yeah. Yeah, my final thoughts. I'm still really skeptical. I trust. I do. I hope for the best. I believe that JJ can pull something off, mainly because, and you see this all the time with competition between businesses, but JJ, he's got something to prove. I really do think so. I think that he got a lot of flack after Force Awakens, some of it well deserved, but that guy, he's got something to prove. And I think that he's going to give it his all for this, because he understands, like, this is on his shoulders now to end this entire saga. So if he screws this up, it will the backlash he got for Force Awakens will pale in comparison to what he'd get for this. So I'm hoping for the best. But yeah, my final thought, I guess, is that last shot and the Palpatine laugh, which I hate that I completely forgot to say something about it. That was the moment where the trailer got me. That was the moment where it won me over, and I was like, okay, this is finally something that I don't know how they're going to explain it. I don't know how they're going to explain why we got to go
No
find the
idea
Death Star,
how this gonna
or
happen.
how the Emperor's back. It could be Matt Smith. Like, it may just be his impersonation of Ian McDermott. You never know.
We're gonna make an entire Palpatine speculation video in the very, very, very near future. So y'all stick around for that. My
Yeah.
final thoughts on the whole Episode 9. The rise of Skywalker. It feels so good saying something. As you said, JJ has a chance to prove himself, and I think he will do that. This movie will do either one of two things. It'll either prove, the sloppy storytelling and the just disjointed sequel trilogy, and it'll be forever be known as sloppy, or it'll bridge the entire Skywalker Star Wars saga together. I mean, it's going to do one or the other. So that's why they went all out to get Palpatine. That's why they're going to try to put a bow on all this. They know what's going on, and like I said, one of those two things are going to happen. It's either going to go crash and burn and just be a disaster, or it's going to be a nice, beautiful bridge of Episode 1 to Episode 9. So with that, guys, that was our, I wouldn't say quick, but overall just review and recap of our initial reactions of day one of Star Wars Celebration. Be sure to check out the other videos that we will be having coming out as the weekend rolls out. Again, it's the Cantina Cabana. You can follow us there on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, RebelScum2187. James, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at review my username. The E in user doesn't exist, so review my USR name. That's the best way I can explain it. All
right, guys. Yeah, that's the Cantina Cabana signing off. See you around, kid.